going to run through and we're going to basically give you some updates on what we've been doing and things like that. First, we're going to do introductions, all that wonderful stuff. We'll have an open session at the end, so things like that Harry already started to bring up for everybody is great, because what we're looking for is connections that'll help everybody out. So with that in mind, welcome to 2021's first Executive Advisory Board meeting. Still virtual, unfortunately. I know Robert was asking about when we were going to go back to having a sit down. We'd love to do that. We can probably find space. It's just a matter of making sure everybody's on board. Also finding out times and days that work for people to come on out and things like this. At least virtually, we don't take as big a chunk out of people's days. You don't have to come out here. You don't have to meet up and things like that. So that at least that has that good going for it. And we really appreciate people making time today to kind of hear where we are and what we're doing. So with that in mind, what I'd like to do is just really quickly, so people who are not familiar with who's on the call, we have a variety of folks, both from the VSGI, from GMU proper, from outside interests, et cetera, that have joined us here today. So if we can kind of quickly go around, I'll do since it's always in different orders on different people's screens, I'll just do quick call outs as I see them. And then just go ahead and announce who you are, what you're doing, what your kind of background is. And since in the top left corner, and you're going to hear them soon anyways, Sang, do you want to tell people who you are?
Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Sang Nam. I'm the director of computer game design program and work with wonderful people at VSGI. And my background, that's a good question. I love playing game. Yes, I play a mobile game a lot. But I'm good at multitasking. So I keep telling my kids, yes, well, at least I do my work, then play game. So yes, I love playing game and sometimes make game as well. Thank you.
And you'll hear more from him as director of the game design program in a moment. So Robert, if you could go next, Robert McCrae, if you could introduce yourself and your background real quick for folks.
Sure. I'm affiliated with a couple of programs at Mason, the Shar School off and on. I'm an occasional lecturer at the National Defense University. I'm an advisor to NATO. I did nuclear crisis games during the Reagan administration. I designed and participated in Army games, and am still interested in tabletop games focused on problem solving, strategic issues, and basically better government.
Thank you, Robert. Bob Bates, do you want to go next?
Sure. I am a game designer. Started designing games for Infocom in 1986. So I've been doing this a while. Text adventures and graphic adventures, and then first-person shooters and all manner of games. Had a company called Legend Entertainment. Was the chief creative officer for Zynga for several years. Past chair of the IGDA, International Game Developers Association, and still a freelance consultant on games worldwide. My biggest client right now is King, who are the Candy Crush people.
Excellent, thank you, Bob. Stephanie, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Stephanie King, and I am the research coordinator for the VSGI. I've been here for a while now. So it's working on everything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just a little light, but that's, yeah.
Yeah. New stuff. So.
Excellent. Let's go with Robbie Dietrich.
Hi, I'm Robbie Dietrich. I'm one of the professors at computer game design, and I come from a background of doing a lot of game programming, mostly in Japan.
Excellent. Jacob?
Hello. I am also a faculty member, but I'm half-time in the game design program and half-time at VSGI. So I try to, I work in various areas of VSGI. I help with MGTA, and I help with the research and looking at some different grants to get funding and stuff like that. But my background is long history of teaching, taught in cinema and television arts, taught in computer science, taught mathematics, and I very briefly worked for an educational game company. But for the most part, I have been a teacher and a researcher my whole life.
Excellent. Cool. Mr. Piccioni.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Piccioni. I'm the Associate Director at the Game Design Program. I teach art and animation, character design portfolios, and I do game design for the capstone projects. My background is before teaching, I worked in the game industry for about 20 years for various companies, EA, Sega, Activision, Bethesda, so big companies, tiny companies. And before that, I did some comic book work. So
Excellent. You sometimes leave that one off. That's a good one. I always love when you add that in. Comic books, always good. Harry, I know you kind of gave a little bit of info at the beginning when you were talking about some of your interests, but tell us who you are and your background for everybody else.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Harry Wingo, and I'm a assistant professor at the National Defense University. So there I'm a DoD civilian, and I'm in the College of Information and Cyberspace. Going back way before that, I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school. Really loved being a dungeon master, and
Nice.
was in the computers, but went off in the Navy, was a Navy SEAL officer. Then I went in the law and tech policy, including a stint at Google. That's when I first learned about VSGI through Scott Martin, and been away for a bit, but happy to be back. And I'm really, really interested in serious gaming for how to help inform the next generation of contextually adaptive AI. So it's great to be here. Thanks.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people here would like to do a campaign, so always good to have a dungeon master. So Susan Graziano.
Hello, I'm Susan, and I'm the Director of Development of the College of Visual and Performing Arts, and I work with these fine folks on trying to bring more funds to the program.
Excellent. Michael Thompson.
Hi all, I'm Michael. I am the IT specialist for game design, VSGI, and MGTA.
Cool. Riza.
Hi everyone, Riza Villacorte. I am the administrative assistant for the VSGI.
We got Vera on here as well.
Hi, I'm Vera. I am the director of MGTA, and you'll hear a bit more about what we're doing later.
Awesome. Mary Bean.
Hello, everyone. I am the academic program and office manager for the computer game design program on the academic side. So
We have,
happy to be here.
Awesome. Ying Yang.
Hi, let me turn on. And this is Ying Yang, and I'm not a gamer. I'm an instructional designer and a learning analyst from Stern Center. It's been an honor to work with the computer game design professors on the fully online courses, and I have learned a lot from you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Josh.
Hi, my name is Josh. I am the administrative assistant for MGTA as well as a senior teacher, and I basically teach some of the classes there, do some admin work, as well as create content for some of the classes as well.
Cool. We have our resident Peloton expert. I think you're still writing a book, or is it done yet, David Miller?
You sound like my editor. Right? Everybody's probably heard this. It's literally going to be turned in tomorrow. I'll email everybody when I turn it in.
Okay.
So yes, my name is David Miller. I'm a faculty member over at the School of Business, and we have a center that likes to work with lots of interesting people on lots of interesting things around innovation. And we've done a bunch over the years with James and Scott and some of the teams that I think may even be residents now, way back when, and just excited to hear what everybody's up to.
Awesome. Let's see. I know we've got Seth on there real quick. I think you were iPad 5. Now you're actually Seth, so that's good. Seth.
Yeah, I was worried you weren't going to call on me. Hi, everyone. I'm iPad 5. I teach in the computer game design program. I'm associate professor of game writing. Happy to see some of you. It's been a while. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right. And now we've got the telephone people. And since I don't have names, I'm going to do the last 2 digits of your phone number to call you out. So if your phone number ends in 81,
Sure. That's wow. I hope I know my own number. This is Patrick Dine. I run a company called PSV Global, and usually I don't give out my number just easily, but I guess it's hard to call me. But so I run a consulting company. We have two sets of clients all over the world. One set are governments and mostly for economic development, and the other set are companies for their international expansion, very heavy on the tech side. And where that relates to gaming is that we do a lot of sort of trade missions, virtually now, of course, on gaming. And we work with a number of companies that in one way or another are in the gaming sector, particularly in the wireless mobile space, which we have a very long record in. So that's why I'm very interested in this topic.
Awesome. And don't worry, we can't see the entire phone number, so we won't.
It's fine. I'll just go by 81. Going forward, I'll be known as number 81.
Number 81. All right. How about number 27?
Oh, that's me. This is Kathy McNeil. Hello, everybody. So since we last convened, I've actually changed positions. I'm a director of artificial intelligence within GSA, the Centers of Excellence for Technology Transformation. It's a lot of words. What I do right now is I'm looking at artificial intelligence and machine learning to help solve very large government problems. I'm super interested in what Harry was talking about with regards to contextual adaptive AI. We're actually looking at perhaps some ways to develop corpuses so we can advance natural language processing. And I'd love to look at a way that gaming technology could be used to help with some of that. We're also embarking on some AI thinking around cybersecurity, given some recent developments that you've probably seen in the paper.
Right.
I think there might be some ways we could gamify some of that work.
Excellent. Yeah, well,
Then
we
that's
can connect after this, me and you and
yes,
Scott.
go ahead. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd love
four,
to, Harry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
4-0.
Hi there, it's Michelle Weatherly. I am Director of Existing Business and Engagement with Prince William Economic Development. And my background is associations mostly. I worked for Northern Virginia Technology Council and CompTIA. And I also would like to share with everyone that the Department, Economic Development, has offered a grant to startups in the technology space. And that is ongoing through April. So if you have any interest in it, please let me know or visit our website where there is information about those grants for businesses that are in the county or are willing to relocate to the county for 3 years. And I'm delighted to be part of it. Thank you.
And we'll put I'll put the link in chat for people who can see the chat in a moment. So let's see. The person who has 007 as their last digits, 007.
That's me, Heather Deal. I'm the Principal Enterprise Architect at the International Monetary Fund. My current focus is on cybersecurity strategy.
Excellent. And then 719.
Hi, Heather, it's Kathy.
Oh, you guys know each other.
We do. Hi, Heather, I'm waving at you from 27. 27 to 007.
Nice.
I think 4719 was Scott Martin, and I'm here to help everyone change the world.
Excellent. So great to have you still on board and doing great things. So that's everybody. Let's that we did the call to order.
Grimsby?
Oh, did we? Did you get mixed? I've been trying to watch people because they get bumped around when people move and talk. So I forgot Greg Grimsby, and I think that's the only one I missed. So Greg, real quick, who are you and what do you do? I can't hear you, Greg. Your mic is not working. Well, Greg is a great professor in our program, teaches art and a lot of great things. He also worked in games for a number of years before he came to the computer games. Oh, now you're working.
See, this is my expensive mic, and it never works. So anyway, it's nice to meet you all here in the Hollywood Squares. As James was saying, I'm a faculty member. I teach 3D modeling and animation and concept art. I share a lot of backstory with some of these good folks here, like James and Eric. I was in the private sector, commercial games for 15 years as art director. And right now I'm currently enjoying sabbatical, which means I have just as much work as I had when I was teaching, as I'm working on different game design projects for my own game company, Ogre Crossing Games. Nice to meet you all.
Very cool. All right, so I think now that is everybody. We're going to shift over to computer game design. That's our next portion of the agenda. Sang's going to walk us through some awesome stuff that's been occurring over on that side of the house. And Sang, as we go through, just yell when you're ready for the next slide, and I'll bring it up for you. But I think
All right,
first up,
Thank
there
you.
go.
Welcome again. This is Sang Nam. I'm the director of computer game design program. And first, enrollment. So this one is kind of overview of our current enrollment situation. As you can see, CBPA, College of Visual and Performing Arts, overall enrollment went down, but we managed to maintain the positive number. Basically, I try to kind of share the news because not necessarily for us, it's really about the current situation. Because of pandemic situation, academia, like most universities struggle, and we try to find a positive way to kind of get back to the normal. And at this point, we are at like kind of 0%, like 1% like gain, which is we maintained a similar enrollment compared to last year. So we are grateful for the positive enrollment numbers, and then we will continue to work to educate the next generation. And next slide, please. And this is freshman admissions as March. So again, like overall number actually went down, including our number. So fall 2020, like we got 221 applications. Now we got like 209 applications. Well, it's like minus 5%, but we're not really concerned that much. But we closely monitor our numbers of applications and then deposits or all these numbers to make sure we maintain our enrollment number. So far, again, it's not really alarming at this point. I think typically we admit about like 80 to 85 incoming students, probably 65 to 70 incoming freshmen, and 20 to 25 transfer students. And we believe we are going to get the similar number. So, but again, we are cautious about the recent trend, and we try to maintain that similar number compared to last year. Okay, next slide, please. And safe return to campus. You might wonder what's going to happen fall semester. Right now, George Mason University is planning to have up to 75% of on-campus presence compared to the pre-pandemic stage. So 75% can mean very different things, but bottom line is university want to offer more in-person classes, and then we want to have more in-person activities. So for instance, if you look at the dormitory situation, on-campus housing, they will actually try to go back to the normal, like before pandemic situation. And then we will slowly increase more in-person activities. And our faculties at Computer Game Design Program have prepared for more in-person hybrid classes for the fall 2021. So our faculties will make more commitment, and we'll try to teach more in-person hybrid courses so that we can kind of continue to have that presence on campus and embrace that university's direction to go back to the normal or safe return to campus. So I really appreciate all our faculty efforts, because yes, they are eager to help the community by making that commitment to come to campus and teach more in-person classes. And next slide, please. And GICon 2020, this is Game Immersion Conference. So Dr. Martin is here. Scott Martin is a founder of Computer Game Design Program and VSGI. And with recognition of his work in the field of serious game and AI, Dr. Scott Martin has been invited to participate in this GICon 2020. And because of that invitation, we decided to participate in this conference along with their game jam. So 2 faculty members and up to 30 students will join this conference and participate in this I Learn Future game jam. And if you look at the list of higher education institutions that participate, those are universities, universities in Europe, and United States and China and all over the world. And then this is a prestigious opportunity, and we would love to participate and make difference, make a good impact by using games. So after this, this will be held from April 12th and 16th. And after that, there will be many games will be published from this game jam, and I'm going to report back to you with great games from that conference and game jam. And next slide, please. And faculty highlight, Professor Gregory Grimsby. You saw him, and then Professor Grimsby has been working on his own board game, Alien Pet Shop, and is ready for funding on Kickstarter. So you can read the description, and I'm going to share the link on the chat so you can visit the link and then get to know the game. So this is important because our program, computer game design program, try to find the balance between theory and practice, and our own faculty design this great tabletop board game and then go through Kickstarter process. And then from that experience, I'm sure Professor Grimsby can share a lot more to our students. And again, this is great game. And at your leisure, please visit this site and try to get to know about the game. And if you have any questions, you can ask about this game and or any board game process, you can ask Professor Grimsby. And if you have great ideas for board game, maybe you can hire Professor Grimsby and his students. And thank you. And you can, yeah.
Clicking in the screen is wrong. And we're actually going to highlight that Greg is doing a talk coming up about games as well. So it's kind of nice that he's here and get to see it. So with that said, that's a lot of great news about the game design program, a lot of good stuff going on. We're weathering the pandemic, we're planning ahead. And if you guys have questions, feel free to pop them in chat or raise your hand or even chime in as we go through. And then we'll have time for open discussion and questions at the end as we get near. So now we're going to go into the VSGI proper. We're going to have a few folks here that are going to talk. And then after that, we'll go to Mason Game and Technology Academy. So the first thing we want to talk about is actually the speaker series. So if you haven't had a chance to check them out, we've been doing now, this is the second semester of it. We had, I think, 5 of them last semester. They're all recorded and available on our website at this VSGI GMU.edu speaker series. But we have some great stuff that we're right in the middle of them right now. We've already done one on pitching to the press. We had a really renowned games journalist that came in and talked about how do you get your game in the news, how do you talk about your game, things to do in that sense. We had one of our new professors that came from Pixar talk about how animation has evolved. Everybody's heard of probably The Mandalorian, and it's amazing because they're using all Unreal technology to make all these backdrops and sets that are being put on giant screens behind the actors and really reinventing the way movies are being done and using game technology to do that. So it's great. The one we're doing tomorrow, that's why it's in red, is tomorrow evening, is an Ask Me Anything for parents. So it's a different kind of audience. With the pandemic, now a year behind us, which is crazy to think about. You know, kids have been playing more games, adults have been playing more games, and they still, you probably still have parents that look at them and are like, why is my kid playing so much Among Us or so much Fortnite or whatever the case of, the game of the week happens to be, Fall Guys or whatever, right? And they probably want to ask questions, but they don't want to appear sus, which means suspect, right? And so there's all these different things that, like these kids have their own lingos that come out of these, games that they're talking. So things that we can hopefully answer for them, or at least, make them feel better about games and their kids. And then I mentioned this, Greg is doing the next one. And that's all about building your own board game and what's involved with that process, because he's made several at this point, not including the Alien Pet Shop. He has several under his belt, but this one, which is also a lot of fun. I did get to play it in this play test. It's a great game. And then the last one for this season, we actually have Stephanie, who's on the call, doing basically a presentation of what she's doing for her master's project, which is body ownership and virtual reality. So all good talks, and we're always looking for, excellent, right? Yeah, see, and Harry knows about Among Us. So if we're also looking for speakers or topics, Bob, if you want to come in and talk sometime, because you've got a great history in games, or, like all these different folks, we have a variety of folks, even just on this call alone, that can be potential talks. And we don't want it to be just for game students. We want it to be to anybody who's interested in games or the technology or the opportunities. And we want to make it a very wide audience if possible. So that's why we're looking for very varied topics. So I'm going to give a quick update on each of the residential companies that are inside the incubator. Now, that being said, right now, almost all of the companies are remote due to the pandemic. We have opened up the offices. I am actually here right now. And we have done a few tours and really minor stuff, but we haven't opened it up for like one of these meetings yet or big things. But because some of the companies have kind of gotten used to working remotely, they haven't felt the need to trek on out, but we've still supported them remotely through this. So the first one, Historical Movement Archive and Studio, they actually officially ended their residency in December. And right now they're shopping their pitch around to various folks inside and outside the university for collaboration and for funding. And these are the guys that did basically motion capture of historical movement, dance, fighting, etc., and recreating and storing it within VR, AR, or just on your computer. And trying to create archives of these amazing old historical movements. So we're wishing them well and we're continuing to support them, but they're officially, their residency is over at this point. Citadel Studios, this is actually relatively new news. Citadel Studios, which makes Legends of Aria and is working on a new game called The End, which is Viking themed. And it's kind of a, everybody plays against everybody else, but the environment as well type of game. They're actually going to take a little bit of a physical leave of absence from the VSGI due to some circumstances in the owner's life. We're going to still be supporting them and trying to, if they can find the funding, continue on with additional interns here at the SGI and help them out as we can, but they will be not using the office unless we get new interns for them. So. But they're still doing well and they're still trekking on their projects. They've just had to do a temporary quick move and take care of some things. Fly Guy Interactive is still working on their seed game as far as testing it and getting feedback from students. They finished their phase 2 and the clients, communities and schools were very happy. And now it's being put in front of the students and the counselors so they can get additional feedback and see what phase 3 of this project would be. And this is the game, in case you're not familiar with it, is the game where we threw kids into this kind of like sci-fi world, and based on how they interact and do these mini games, we actually tried to assess their emotional needs and their social needs and try to figure out if they're going to have problems. And we take that along with the information they get from like questionnaires and assessments that are done with the counselor to hopefully identify problems before they come up within school children. Namiyar is finishing up Biggie Bills. I still hate that title, but it's Biggie Bills. It's a educational board game teaching entrepreneurship. And they're also doing work on the USAID project, which is teaching Indian girls girls in India, teenage girls in India, about reproductive health through games. They're also supporting their entertainment game, which was Hamsters and Gremlins, and they're doing additional new topics and potential projects that are coming up as well. We still have Empower Our Youth, which due to COVID's kind of put off starting at the SGI, but once it's kind of settled down and we get back in here and get a team in here, they're going to work on their social network for kids in the foster program. And finally, during the open session, I'm going to introduce to you, and if you have any feedback on them, we had an application for residency, and we'll talk about that in a moment and what they represent. So, watching the time. Stephanie is our research coordinator, so I'm going to let her talk a bit about some of the things that we have either submitted or are in the process of submitting, and then one or two of these are mine too. But Stephanie, you want to give them a quick rundown of some of the stuff that we've got outstanding for research right now?
Sure. So one of the things that we did was I submitted something with Scott Martin and Nada Devog, I believe is how we pronounce her name. And that was for researching a personalized learning server. We also did a partnership with a company called Sanford, who does biometrics for Air Force pilots. And we're working on gamification for that kind of information to see how we use that to better Air Force pilots. There's also, I'm working with the Digital Movement Archive to find some digital humanities advanced grants for them. So that way he can be working on his project as well, even though he's no longer a resident at the SGI. Did you want to cover the two that you said?
Hold on, there we go. So there's two also that I've been kind of running point on just because of the folks that have kind of come to me. One is a forensic virtual crime scene. So a gentleman in the College of Science is looking for some seed funding through one of their programs. And we're going to potentially help them out in creating a prototype for essentially a virtual crime scene, so that, you know, if we wanted to stage a murder in my office, we could have somebody come in VR, see my office, see the dead body, see all the clues, and be able to hopefully figure out who did it and how and why, and even be able to go back in time and see all of that stuff. Not to say that there's going to be murders in this office, but just saying virtually there might be. And then another one that we're working with one of our previous resident companies, Little Arm Studios. They've been working with Arlington County on a way to go beyond their fire and simulation project that they did to create something that is actually about incident command. So, you know, when something happens, whether it's a school shooting or, you know, a mass casualty event or just natural disaster or whatever the case may be, you often have different types of people showing up: police, fire, rescue, medical, you know, all these folks. And you have to be able to coordinate them in order to help people, right? And so part of that is incident command. And so they're trying to create a simulator that will allow people to play each of those roles, as well as play the roles of the people that are in charge. And so they're looking at how, if they can get that going, and the funds for that as well. So we've been doing a number of different research opportunities, and we've got a few in the fire, as Stephanie kind of went over, and we're always looking for more. So if there's things from each of your own parts of the world that you've seen opportunities, or you've seen or have ideas that you kind of want to go with, we're always welcome to partner and move on from that. Excellent. And a PhD program is continuing afoot, and I know Dr. Martin, who's on the call, is kind of heading it up, and Stephanie's helping, and we helped in the past, but they're continuing to shore up letters of support, finalizing the draft of the proposal for it, and along with all the other fine members from the other colleges and the GMU, We're still looking for a spring submission to get a doctorate in serious games, which would be a big boon to all of our programs in GMU and be basically a one-of-a-kind type of thing, which would be a great thing for us to put our stamp on. And the nice thing is we've got a lot of good experience under our board and ready to go. So you'll see on our web pages and on Facebook and Twitter, we're trying to do more with social media. So, you know, we're trying to put news articles out there, or trying to keep up interest. Feel free to pass those along to other folks, you know, as you hear about things and want them to find out about us. Use our social media. We'll try to continue to keep it up. We want to get more people involved and interested, you know, whether it's from taking classes from GTA to coming to the game design program, or maybe coming in as a company or working with us to make stuff. There's lots of opportunities for what we do. With that said, I'm going to let Vera do a quick update on Mason Game and Technology Academy and kind of walk you through where they're at and where they're going.
Okay, hello everybody. So I run MGTA, and I do apologize for the blurry screen. I'm not sure what causes that, but in any case, MGTA is the non-degree K-12 program for teens, adults. We host courses in game design, machine learning, AI, art and animation, and programming, mostly during the summer, but throughout the whole year. Our summer classes currently are open for registration. And Josh, if you're still on, feel free to share our link. This year, we're going to have both virtual and on-site courses. Fingers crossed on the on-site part. We're very hopeful though. Kind of a limited footprint because of the social distancing, but that could change as well. So we hope that this fall and next summer we'll be back on track fully. We also currently have scholarships available from the Micron Foundation, so I'd appreciate it if everybody would share that information as well. Our national partner, we do have a national partnership with the Envision World Strides Group, and they're also just now getting back on track. They are excellent at marketing our program nationally. So we do have each year students from all over the country. However, last year they were hit very, very hard by the pandemic because prior to last year, their entire business model was on-site. They ran all the big travel abroad programs. So we and they last year had to kind of pivot to an online virtual academy, which turned out to be very successful. And it also turned out to be quite instrumental in helping them kind of plan for their own future and making that pivot online. So we are continuing that, and as a win-win for both parties, they're now forging new partnerships for MGTA and for themselves, currently with a new consortium of private schools. So we hope that this very successful partnership will continue to help expand both our organizations. Finally, other activities, we are continuing to work with Prince William County on teacher training. And I'm happy to announce that we have a pilot going with the county as well to license our curricula. We, as a result of the pivot online, we were able to develop curricula in a box. Game design, machine learning, AI, which what that actually means is that you can take the link to our curriculum, and it has everything a teacher could possibly need to host an on-site or online class. It can be synchronous or even asynchronous without a teacher. And we have piloted this to Prince William County, and it's been a great success. So we do also hope to expand that. With that said, we're just keeping our fingers crossed for a good summer. So please spread the word about our classes. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Vera. Okay, so that kind of brings us to the open session. I'm going to start it off with one quick thing. So this is the residency application that I got just recently. The name of the company is Intergalactic Education. Their website's down there, etc. So they came to us. They were referred through one of the business programs here at Mason. They actually have a team. They've got some founding members who've been around for a while. They've got 53,000 downloads on the mobile version, but they also have a web version. And their idea is creating e-learning applications for various topics. A lot of them look like were math oriented and space themed. But their goals are to make it easy for students and teachers so that it's widely accessible through a lot of different options. So that means web browsers and mobile devices. And they're looking to partner with schools, influencers, NASA because of the space angle, obviously, and try to get more feedback. And so they've got a few different theories and ideas on how to go about this. Right now, it's paid apps and an admin system for the teachers that's based on a subscription. And again, I haven't had time to really get into their business plan much with them, but they were able to give it to me so we could kind of throw it out there. They are not looking, they're not looking for a place to necessarily hang their hat at the moment because they do operate out of the founder's home, and it's in the DC and Maryland area, and they've got people all around, but they are looking for the mentorship and the partners that we kind of offer. And so there might be some synergy there, and there may be some good opportunities for students and internships and things like that. So we're going to continue to talk to them and see if, you know, and I know Jacob's kind of got some similar research that might be of help to them, or vice versa, or maybe there's a partnership. But so we're gonna explore that a little bit, but they're not likely going to have a space within the SGI, at least at the start, but we will kind of flesh that out. So if there are opportunities or things that you want to that you think of from this, we'll be pursuing this and see where it goes. So we just wanted to bring it up because it kind of came up, and it's one of those things. It's nice to see that folks are still looking for these partnerships, even within, you know, these remote and strange pandemic times that we're in. So with that being said, who else? We've got at least, you know, over 10 minutes, it looks like. Are there other things that, you know, we may not have got a chance to either talk about? I know, Robert, you had mentioned talking about some of the things with different government agencies and different potentials there. And I know, you know, Harry, you want to learn how to do some Unity and art, and so we've heard different things. What other things do you guys want to talk about that, you know, as the VSGI, we could potentially, you know, look into more, work with you, et cetera? Are there different thoughts out there? We're always looking for opportunities for you guys as well as us, because you support us through this board and through the connections you make, and the kind of the network that has come out of this great institution. That good old 719 phone number there is helped set up.
James, I'll try to respond to
So
that very
James,
quickly.
this is
Robert, let me have Robert start, and then we'll do F27 start. All right, so Robert, go ahead.
Thank you, James.
Yep, perfect.
I've been attending some of the executive sessions before and enjoy them very much. I appreciate the focus the VSGI has on education, on getting new companies started. I'm coming at this, as I have traditionally, from a different point of view. I'm always looking at the strategic endpoint on the continuum of gaming. That is simulations provoke decision-making, strategic analysis, and problem solving. And so a couple of points I just want to mention, given the synergies that may exist between VSGI and the National Security Institute at the Mason Law School, there's probably room for discussion there. I think Harry Wingo is part of that group, as a matter of fact. And there's opportunities to talk about bridging serious games, with the emphasis in the word serious, to look at things that are having to do with public policy and rather complex issues along those lines. And that's sort of point number one. Point number two is when it was mentioned earlier by Sang about the immersion, I have connections with Coventry. Matter of fact, every year I lecture at Coventry University, and they have a very, very high level simulation center, and they've been wanting to partner with George Mason for a long time because their focus is on using simulation to guide government officials, law enforcement, and public health to handle different situations so that in a no-fault environment, they can make better decisions and deal with rather complex problems.
Right.
That's point number two. And then the final point is that in connection with some of the people I run around with, which are the military operations researchers and the connections gamers, the military gamers, in looking at your student population and looking ahead, there's a tremendous potential for student body tap-in the military community that I would just urge you to think about. End of comment.
No, I think all those are great points, and I think that maybe what we want to do is set up a follow-up meeting and kind of see what some quick turnarounds might be for that. Work with your department and what you're doing there. See if there's some places that we could potentially go in and collaborate early. Maybe even reach out to Coventry, like you said, and talk to them as well, and see where we can go. Because we'd love to do additional projects of that sort and that nature. Again, it's just been finding the right kind of connection, finding the right kind of, always one of the things, finding the right funding, finding the right source, finding the right people. So, but I think all those points are great, and we'd love to work with you on that. So, excellent. 027, I think that was Kathy, right?
Yep, this is Kathy. Yeah. So here's my question. Because I'm fortunate enough to be involved with a lot of proof of concepts and prototyping and solutioning, can you talk a little bit about what characteristics of technology, because I'm in artificial intelligence, right? Machine learning, natural language processing. Are there characteristics in solutions that you think are better fit for gaming technology? I mean, there's a lot of visual cues with gaming technology, but are there other things that you guys find pretty interesting or that are really juicy problems to solve, or things that you like that are good for the students or the incubators? So can you give me a sense of that? Sure. Because there's so much, right?
Oh yeah, no, there absolutely is. And Dr. Martin he's got this kind of background in it as well. And I think it just depends because we have a lot of folks that are going through the game design program that are really learning the ins and outs of games, right? And that can be really easily switched and applied to serious games and simulations and trainings, etc. But I think typically speaking, and I may be oversimplifying this, right? When you start to talk about the AI and the machine learning side of things, they haven't been using that to the same degree in the game industry as what you see in some of the different applications that we typically see when people are talking about that training. But that's not to say that they can't, and that they definitely should start to incorporate those. I think the biggest thing though is it would take a combination, especially like if you were going to gamify, and I know Dr. Martin's done some training already on AI and machine learning to get people started, but like if you're going to gamify some of that, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to gamify the education of those principles, that's one way to go. And that's taking a subject matter expert in gaming, a subject matter expert in the AI, and kind of marrying them and go together. But then if you're going to take AI and machine learning and apply it to like an optimization problem within an organization or a process, and then you're also going to do a simulation in gaming, then you're probably looking at like 3 sets of subject matter experts to come in. And I think we could find the right people for you. We do have some good folks coming out of GMU proper all over, including gaming. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity in that field. And I think, in where you are now from listening to your new position, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to work together and potentially go down some routes, either if it's just straight AI machine learning applications. We have, Scott and some folks that have their own kind of interest in businesses through that. We've also got people that can then help gamify it or create games and or combo them. So I think we could do all that with you. So we can do another conversation on this with me, you, and Dr. Martin probably, and talk about what next steps would be, if that sounds good.
Okay. Would you also play in the space of, and this might be a really good place, which is like training training teams, people on what AI is and experiencing what AI is, because we also have that problem too. That sounds like a really good mix.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Perfect.
I think
Okay,
Vera
that gives me, yeah.
Vera mentioned this. We actually set up some already classes in a box, and they were designed to work for both students of young or old nature to really grasp that idea of what AI and machine. There's a book that Harry's putting up there, Playing Smart, but they're designed around how AI and machine and the topics work, and they're done in a nice, simple way. It gets them started with it, it gets them going, and they actually even create little games that use AI and machine learning as part of that. And so it's a great introduction, because you're right, not enough people are being introduced to this topic at any age, and it's going to be increasingly integrated in a lot of what we do going forward in different ways. You know, like Harry also mentioned, you know, self-driving cars or health, or like there's so many fields. Just like gamification can be applied almost everywhere, AI machine learning is going to be the same way. So excellent. Thank you, Kathy. That's great. We'll catch up.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, to write off, Kathy, I can't wait to get in touch. Bob, amen on everything that you said. Here's an idea for, because George Mason, I think, is already part of something called CCI. I just heard a briefing on, this is the Commonwealth, what's the rest of it? But they're doing AI.
Security initiative?
Yeah, it's the cybersecurity initiative, that's right. And really impressive. I'm really interested in small drones, by the way. Two aspects. The first aspect would be, how could you use small drones to help save lives during an active shooting? So indoor flight, you know, kind of like tiny whoops, which are a game in themselves. And that's one thing. And for digital twins, digital twinning is now in the mainstream. If you look up, if you search digital twinning and then JEDI, as in the big cloud contract, just a couple days ago, the Washington Post covered how powerful that concept is. Dr. Will Roper, as Bob will know, from Air Force and Strategic Capabilities Office, he was a real big champion for digital twin. I put the link in for carla.org. Sorry, there's no HTTPS, but it's an okay site. Intel's there, Barcelona, and it's kind of a serious game for a city, right? Where you do self-driving cars and you drop in your algorithm. I think it would be really interesting to use that approach for drones. So how could you create a carla.org for small drones? And that would help to collaboratively design a lot of the trust factors that you need, because we don't need just smart cities, we need trust cities. And so I think that type of cloud environment, if you look at the resources that are possible, and the really exciting thing on AI, and Kathy was touching on this, you have the opportunity, if you get enough scale for gameplay, you know, you have really people becoming data donors, and they are helping to build a digital twin model that can have real implications in the world. I think that platform we're moving through, George Mason University, is perfect for that. I've been talking to folks at the University of Maryland. As you know, they've got a UARC that has to do with national security. ARLIS, ARLIS, is over there. So if you're ever thinking human factors, that UARC is really interesting. Then total break, and I know we have much time. Just for fun, I've been dying to try and get a cardio esport going. So imagine playing a version of drone tag where you've got small court, several drones flying around blue team, and instead of using just the laser taggers like people do in these laser tag shops that are really hurting during the pandemic, imagine these tiny whoops. They're on the field and you're just doing this new type of game. You could even put VR on it. But I think that would be a really fun sport that would really break new ground on emerging technology and considering what human machine pairing could do. So a lot of goodness there. The research could go on that would have implications for public safety and even more. So thanks.
No, I agree. In fact, actually, for the first time, I don't even know why I watched drone racing for the first time, and it's crazy, right? Because like you start to think about all these different things and these new technologies and how they fit into existing models like sports and things like that, right? And so there's a lot of opportunities out there to marry these new technologies. So I think that's great. We still got like a minute left. Any last minute things people want to plug? We really appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out and learning what we've been doing. And it sounds like we got some great follow-up out of this meeting for us to kind of to get on. So anything else anybody wants to throw out there?
Is there anything that you need from us from a guidance or thinking perspective, or anything that you want us to walk away with, think about, come back and give you thoughts on, or are we good with just the follow-ups?
I think right now let's do some follow-ups outside of this meeting, and then what we can do is we can come back and report to the group on where those initiatives might be going. Because I think the best thing that we can get out of folks like you that bring in a lot of different expertise from these different areas are these opportunities, right? Because you each come at it from different areas that we may not be seeing in our daily interactions, you know, from your new role with AI, to Harry's interest in drones, to Robert's defense things, and, you know, Bob's, you know, connections and stuff in his game. Like there's all these different things, you know, David's got Peloton, right? We could do all kinds of different things. And so there's different interests that all of us bring to the table. So I think the important thing for these meetings is to really highlight by seeing what we've done and what we could be doing and making these connections so that we can then follow up on them. And then we can come back and do a report on them in the next advisory board on like, well, when we started going down this road, here are some opportunities we identified and we're pursuing, and then that opens it up if other people have different thoughts on it. And as we get additional people coming into the meeting, expanding it even further with a different ideas. Does that make sense? So, and not asking for anything like formal or anything like that, but absolutely these follow-ups or any opportunities that you see that we can then dig deep into and then hopefully report on to the group, because these are ways for us to expand opportunities for our students, our faculty, and for this institute. And then hopefully as well, all of you, because you all have these interests in these areas anyways, and hopefully we'll be a resource to you as well. So if that makes sense. So it'll be a nice two-way street for what we're getting out of each other, which is awesome.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Perfect.
Oh, no, thank you guys. It is officially overtime. I want to thank everybody for showing up. We used all of it. We had some great information. We had some great ideas. Reach out to you guys in the next day or two, and we'll follow up on some meetings and see where we're going. Again, if you have ideas for talks for our speaker series, if you have ideas for things that you want for us to pimp out to the network, whatever it is, right? Let us be a resource to you, just as you are to us. So thank you all for coming. Reach out, go to our speaker series, do all that wonderful stuff, and we'll see you again in a few months. But we'll probably see you in email and other meetings individually or in small groups before then. So thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the weather outside if you're in this area.
Thank you so much.
It's great.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.